प्रेम से बोलो श्री गणपति भगवान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गुरु महाराज की जय। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपितजम्बो फलचारुभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम्। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। हे दीन बंधु दयाल शंकर जानी जन अपनाइयो। हे दीन बंधु दयाल शंकर जानी जन अपनाइयो। भवसागर पार निज समीप बसाइयो। हे दीन बंधु दयाल शंकर जाने अजाने पाप में रोहे नाथ श्रान ही नसाइयो। जाने पाप में रोहे नाथ शान ही नसाइयो। कर जोरी जोर निहोज मांगू। कर जोरी जोर निहोज मांगू। देव दर्श दिखाइयो। है दीन बंधु दयाल शंकर दीन बंधु दयाल शंकर। हो देवी सहाय सुनाए शिव जी प्रेम सहित जो गावहीं। देवी सहाय सुनाए शिव जी प्रेम सहित जो गावहीं। छुट जावो ही जग जोनि से छुट जावो ही जग जोनि से। सर्वदा सुख पावही है दीन बंधु दयालु शंकर, दीन बंधु दयालु शंकर। जानी जन अपनाइयो, भव सागर पार उतार मोको, सागर पार उतार मोको। निज समीप बसाइयो, हे दीन बंधु दयालु शंकर, दीन बंधु दयालु शंकर, दीन बंधु दयालु शंकर। वंदे देवमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं, वंदे जगत्कारणं, वंदे पन्नगभूषणं मृगधरं, वंदे पशूनां पतिं। वंदे सूर्यशशाङ्कवाहननयनं, वंदे मुकुन्दाप्रियं, वंदे भक्तजनाश्रयं च वरदं, वंदे शिवं शंकरम्। श्री राम राम रघुनंदन राम राम, श्री राम राम भरताग्रज राम राम, श्री राम राम रणकर्कश राम राम, श्री राम राम शरणं भव राम राम। वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं, देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधार। बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसु, जोदायक फलचारि। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमिरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहो मोहि, हरहु कलेश विकार। राम जी से राम राम कहियो, कहियो जी हनुमान जी है। राम जी से राम राम कहियो, कहियो जी हनुमान जी। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिनु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा,
अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा।
हे महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमत निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन वरण विराज सुवेशा, कानन कुंडल
कुंचित केश।
हाथ भद्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कान्हे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर।
प्रभु चरित सुनिबे को रसिया,
राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे,
रामचंद्र के काज सवारे।
बोलाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिया भरत संभार। सहस वदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा,
नारद सारद सहित अहिसा।
यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कह सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा,
राम मिलाए राजवर दीना।
तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना। लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु।
देवता ही मधुर पर जाना।
और प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरी मुख माही, जल दिलांगी गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते,
सुरमानो ग्रह तुमरे देते।
राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक
हाथ पे कापे।
भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे। महावीर
जब नाम
नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा
संकट से हनुमान छुड़ा मन तब वचन ज्ञान जो लावे
हो सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे
आसु अमित जीवन फल पावे
चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा है पर सिद्धि जगत जियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे
असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे
अवश्य सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता स्वर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा
सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा
तुम्हारे भजन राम को भावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि
भक्त कहाई
और देवता चेतन धरहि हनुमत से ही सर्व सिद्ध करहि संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा
जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल बीरा
बोलो जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई छूटहि मंत्र महासुख हो जो यहाँ पर हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरिचेरा
की जयनाथ हृदय महादेव
हर की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय में बसहूँ सुरभूप गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरा गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बोले पवन सुत हनुमान की सिया भज रामचंद्र की जय। Pranam to all of you on behalf of Bhavani Shankar Mandir and welcome to another session of Shanti Satsangh. Of course, coming live to you on Facebook and on YouTube as well. It is always a pleasure to join you every evening, and I know it is, of course, on your side. You are extremely connected to Satsang as well, because this is where we find our time to decompress, to feel much more alive, no matter how lively you have felt during the day. Satsang enables us to feel quite lively, my friends. This morning, I am happy to say that we had our open doors satsang at the temple. Like most temples, of course, people have stayed away, and it is going to be a slow ramping up period. We understand that, so we'll keep working very hard to continue to build back our community in terms of their responses. But it was nice to see the few people who went there. Bhagwan bless you always, and those of you who, of course, join us online. An update in advance is that the temple will be reopened, continue to be opened every weekday, of course, from 6 tomorrow, 6 to 9 p.m., Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m., Wednesday in the evening, we'll give you that time and so on. But on the days where there are pujas, it will be 6 to 9 p.m. So the schedule will be posted. I hope you can take some time and go in a very safe environment and observe prayers. I was telling some friends, the temple is actually safer than many places that we go to, shop and all that, because it is very, very controlled. And to all of you who continue to be on Shanti Satsang, may you always be at peace and, of course, in bliss. On a beautiful Sunday evening, we want to thank this evening our sponsor, Lotus Funeral Home and Cremation Inc. Lotus Funeral Home has become a place where our community actually has embraced. It is relatively new, I will say. Over the past years, it has opened and has served our community extremely well. Of course, we know that the West Indian community, for sure, whenever someone passes, we have a special way of, saying goodbye and bidding farewell to our beloved ones. And Lotus Funeral Home has allowed us, has embraced our traditions, from the way they greet us, to the way they treat us, to the way they understand, the West Indian needs,
and of course many other communities they cater for. To Bhaiji Kamal Bhardwaj, who's our brother there, the owner there. He's always been, of course, cooperative and very supportive of Bhavani Shankar Mandir and our entire West Indian and Hindu community. So thank you very much, Bhaiji Kamal, and all your staff and everyone else who have continued to help our community. I know in a recent case how much, when one very dear one passed away from our temple, how much Lotus has been supportive in that funeral process. And we'd like to say thank you for always being there for our people, and thank you for supporting our mandir, and thank you for continuing to embrace our traditions. It is one of the few places you will go, and you will see people, the staff there greeting you at Ram Ram. The first time I went there, I was just mesmerized with the way they treated you. The priests, they're always treated with the respect that they earn. So God bless you all, Bhaiji Kamal and staff, and sincere thanks to Lotus Funeral Home again for sponsoring this evening and for always being there with us. Today I wanted to wish a happy belated birthday to my goddaughter. I don't know how I missed this yesterday, but anyways, I would like to wish a happy birthday to Sarah Singh. Sarah is my goddaughter, who yesterday was her birthday, but when I realized it was her birthday, it was a bit late, and I couldn't have done it online. So happy birthday to you, Sarah. God bless you from our family, Guruji, and our children, and Akash, and of course from all your Bhavani Shankar Mandir brothers and sisters and family at the temple. I have known you for so many years. Our family ties go way back. Since you were young, a long time ago, about 20 years, I would say. I remember the days when I used to go to Sarah's home with her parents in Mississauga, and I was very young. I just come to Canada, and I'd say 20 years ago. And since then, we had a really, truly close bond. And Sarah has, of course, grown in our family, in our temple family, so well. So happy birthday to you, and apologies again from Guruji. I totally missed it yesterday. I hope you had a nice birthday with Yado and those two little cuties, my grandchildren, and happy birthday to you. Please give hugs to my grandchildren, coming from their Brampton, Pandit Nana, of course. Happy birthday to you, Sarah. We're going to do a few bhajans now. Bhumika is going to sing her bhajan, and then I'll do a little talk. We'll have some discussions as usual, and Shanti Satsangh, trying to keep everyone connected. And then after that, we'll do some chanting, some special chanting today. I think as the sun is coming out, yes, we are getting a little bit social, but let us not lose the grip of prayers. It's very important for us to do. Over to Bhumika to sing our bhajan today.
Keshava Madhava Jai Deva Madhusudana Keshava Madhava Jai Deva Madhusudana Netra Kamal Dala Ativa Manohar Netra Kamal Dala Ativa Manohar Antaryami Prabhu Parameshwar Antaryami Prabhu Parameshwar Maya Manush Vesh Niradhar Maya Manush Vesh Niradhar Maya Manush Vesh Niradhar Maya मनोहर नेत्र कमल दल अतीव मनोहर अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर माया मानुष वेश लीलाधर देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना जय देवा मधुसूदना
Jai Deva Madhusudana, dedication to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is Madhusudan. And it's an extremely important thing to understand the impact of kirtan and bhajans in our life, and always to keep that going, and to keep that going on always. This evening, my friends, we're on the occasion of so many things that are happening. We'll talk a little bit. We'll read a little bit from Lanka Kand of the Ramayana, where Bhagwan Sri Ram was going through some grief. We've seen some changes, some new news in the world, where, of course, today I think we're all, we've seen the news of a famous Bollywood actor who has committed suicide. And I don't want to go on the comments and write stuff about that and so. Sushant Singh Rajput was a very talented actor. I think most of you who watch your soap opera and recently his Bollywood films would admit that he is was a talented actor, and news broke that he committed suicide today. And it is not wise to speak for or against anyone in these matters, because you don't know what goes on in the life of somebody. Death is an amazing thing that I've always talked about. The only certain thing that will happen, the only certain, or the only thing that is certain, but it is still that only certain thing that we are yet to understand, to comprehend. When it happens, we are just driven into different states of experiences, and of course, it is terrible. And whether it's a suicide or natural death or whatever it is, when death comes, it comes. When these things happen, and when Bollywood actors especially, when they die, and we hear so much news about it, and when we see these events in the world that happens where, so many recently racist activities were happening, well, you have to wonder what else is going on that we don't hear about. Well, there's a lot going on, my friends, that we don't hear about. I've always spoken, I am a believer in understanding the whole concept of something before I make a statement. And yes, we feel sad for Sushant, and obviously any life gone is of course always sad. There's so much happening in this world where lives are going every day unnoticed. Hunger is taking away so many lives. A lack of a decent meal really takes away so many lives in this world. It is not, of course, publicized. You don't know about it, but when you see it firsthand, it is a whole different awakening thing. And when we attempt to do the work of God, what is the work of Bhagwan? Well, one of the work of the Lord is to create We have Bhagwan Brahma, who is the creator. Chaturmukhaya Vidmahe. He is the creator. Whatever he creates, Bhagwan Vishnu preserves. And whatever Bhagwan Vishnu preserves, at the time when there is a new creation that has to happen, Bhagwan Shiv, Bhairava, comes and he grades out the land and he paves way for new creation. Where we get into trouble is when we want to do the work of God. Whenever we want to do the work of God is when we get into serious trouble. And that is, God has given us this beautiful, human body and has given us a timeline and the freedom to do what we want to do with it. Depression is a very, very troubling thing. Depression, my friends, take the famous ones, the stars, the kings, and every one of them. No matter how powerful they are, no matter how powerful a leader is, all of them, my friends, bow to death. All of them bow to death. And we cannot say that they are weak. We cannot say bad things about them. We should not say that they're cowards. We should never say that, because you never know what goes on in the life of a person. You never know what goes on in the life of our person. Not everyone is made the same way. When weakness comes to man, we always refer to Arjun, right? We always refer to Arjun, the most unique person on this earth, strongest of the men, great, character, marvelous strength, closest to God. Yet he fell into depression. Arjuna fell into depression. You know that, right? Bhagavad Gita, my Gita students. Arjun fell into depression. Arjun, who could have taken an arrow and shot it, my friends, Brahmastra. He could have shot one arrow, and this arrow would become a missile equal to an atomic bomb today. One arrow. Atomic. One arrow becomes that bomb. One arrow he takes. It's called Brahmastra, and it cannot be reversed. Yet Arjun felt depressed in front of Sri Krishna. His Gandiva fell from his hands. And, his Gandiva fell from his hands. He lacked courage. Krishna Bhagavan, out of the 5 brothers, Krishna Bhagavan chose Arjun to fight the battle. He was chosen by God, not by the community, not by voters. He was chosen by Sri Krishna to fight the battle because he was the most balanced. Yudhishthira was too dharmic, too soft. Bhim was too hot-headed. Everything for him is about muscle. Nakul, Sahadev, they were young, immature. So the one that was most balanced was Arjun. He was not young, he was not old among the 5 of them. He possessed Dhanurveda. He possessed the knowledge of Dhanush. He possessed Vedic knowledge. He was a Shiva Bhakta, great friend of Krishna, of course. Well, he was most balanced, but he felt in depression. Bhagavad Gita talks about Mukhang cha parishishyati. It describes him. He felt weak. When you're depressed, things fall from you. Your mouth, of course, becomes parched. And the whole description of his ways in the Gita is listed there. Arjun felt depressed. But you know what saved him? Or you know who saved him? You know who saved him? When depression steps in, my friends, when depression steps in, then we have to, of course, we have to count on that relationship, that bond. And we have to hold on to that bond, that relationship with our Prabhu. And that is when we go, Prabhu, the world has let go of me, I have let go of myself. But Lord, Lagi lagan mat torna, लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना। लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना, हरि जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना। खेती बेआई मैंने तेरे नाम की, खेती बेआई मैंने तेरे नाम की, मेरे भरोसा मत छोड़ना, मेरे भरोसा मत छोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना। जल है गहरा नाव पुरानी, जल है गहरा नाव पुरानी, बीच भंवर मत तोड़ना, बीच भंवर मत छोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे, हाँ प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत छोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत छोड़ना। तू ही मेरे सेठ है, तू ही साहूकार है, तू ही मेरे सेठ है, तू ही साहूकार है, ब्याज पे ब्याज मत जोड़ना, ब्याज पे ब्याज मत जोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना, हरि जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना। लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, लागी लगन मत तोड़ना, प्रभु जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना, हरि जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना, हरि जी मोरे लागे लगन मत तोड़ना। मत तोड़ना. When the world has shut us out, when nobody understands what depression is or what mental disease is, and when the world will never understand you and think that medicine is the cure for everything, my friends, then you go. Prabhu ji more lage lagan mat torna. Don't break this between us, Prabhu. Don't break this between us. This is the kind, if you have ever done that with your Lord, we have seen lots of movies. I have seen, and you have seen movies. And you have seen life as well, where one runs after the other. Please don't break this. Please don't leave me. Please don't do this. Please don't leave this relationship. If we have ever done that with Prabhu, then that with our God, with our Creator, then that is a very magical thing. And that is an indication that, my friends, you are indeed sincere, you are indeed connected, and you depend on Him for everything. Mat torana, Prabhu. Don't break this relationship. That is what the song is saying. Prabhu mat torana. Lagi lagan mat torana. What is it saying? Jal hai gehra, naav purani. Jal hai gehra, or, the river is expanding. The river is getting so big, or the ocean is getting big, or naav purani. And this boat is getting old. What does that mean? Life is going, my friend, and this boat that we have is getting old. This boat is getting old. Prabhu, beech bhavar mat chodna. Don't let anything come between you and me. Don't let anything come between you and me. That is how we handle this thing. But we can't go to Bhagwan for help when we do not know Him. We can't go to Jagadamba for help when we don't know her. तू ही मेरे सेठ है, तू ही साहूकार है. You are my master, you are my only companion, Shri Krishna. तू ही मेरे सेठ है, you are सेठी ना, you are my master. व्याज पे व्याज मत जोड़ना. Do not forget your humble servant, Prabhu. You see, the thing with God is, with Prabhu, God never forgets. Our bhajans and our prayers are all about Prabhu mat bhul ja, don't forget me. But we are forgetting that we are the ones with the short memory. You understand? We are the one with the short memory, not the Prabhu. We forget things very quickly. Bhagwan, if you give me this, I'll do that to you. When that happens, guess what? We forget what are our responsibilities. Prabhu, if you give me this, I'll do that. When that happens, we forget our responsibility. Satyanarayan Katha has taught us that. God, if you give me this, I'll do this. And when you get this, that goes away, you forget. We are the ones with short memory, not God, not the Creator, not the universe. The universe itself as it stands remembers things. The universe, the earth has cradled us, my friends, from the time we were a child. The earth cradled us. The earth understands our footsteps. The earth understands our body movements. Even the trees are used to us. Everything behaves as they're supposed to around us. We are the ones with the short memory. We are the ones with the short memory. And so what happens, my friends, as Arjun fell now in depression, good for him, he had someone beside him. He had someone beside him that will never allow you to fall. He had someone beside him who would have never allowed or watched him fall. He had someone behind him who had, of course, he had so much confidence in Arjun's ability, but he will never watch Arjun fall. And that is Shri Krishna. That is Shri Krishna. He never allowed Arjun to fall. Of course, he picked him up and he roughed him up a little bit. He told Arjun, Arjun, you are, of course, speaking like a pandit. Nana Shoshyati Panditana. You're speaking like a pandit, a learned one. But yet you behave like a coward. Arjun, discard this unmanly, heaven-barring behavior of yours. Discard it. Klaibia means unmanly. Discard this unmanly, heaven-barring behavior. My friends, this is Sri Krishna telling Arjun, the strongest man at that point in time, you know. And if Arjun could fall into a little depression when he had Sri Krishna in front of him, who are we, my friends, when we are longing to see this God of ours? See, the challenge with this is that we are longing to see God. We are longing to see Bhagwan. We are not longing to experience Him. Right? When you see food, food is not going to do anything to you when you see it. Everyone wants to see Krishna blowing Basuri. Where are you, my Krishna? Why are you not coming to my home? Everyone wants to see Dhanush Dhari Prabhu Ram. You know? Everyone wants to see Mahadev with Trishul and, Digambar and Damaru. Everyone wants to see Ma Durga, Ashtatash Bhushrup. How often do we want to experience that God? Remember, seeing the food is one thing, but experiencing it in you is a whole different thing. And so, this mental disease is not a joke, and it has affected and has driven many to the lower levels of life, to the point where, they have given up in life. And we cannot, please do not ever comment on anyone who has committed suicide or who has ever been a victim of depression, because you were not there. I don't know if you were or not, but the easiest thing to do, my friends, is to understand that in this whole cosmos, no matter how big we are, We are a tiny speck that exists in this cosmos. A tiny speck. But as tiny as we are, we can pick up that phone and don't be embarrassed and call someone and tell them whatever the heck is bothering you. Yeah? Tell them whatever is bothering you, my friends, and get some help. That moment has to pass. Remember, this moment will pass, but never become, of course, at least, become a victim of that disease. And so today I thought I'll speak a little bit on that, because this virus has definitely affected a lot of people mentally. Loss of job, loss of finances, loss of relationships, loss of, social habits. Their social habits are not fulfilled. And it has really created a dampen in a lot of people's lives. So I want to tell you that if you're in a position to make a phone call, call somebody. And if you need to call me, call me. I know Bhaji Kamal Bhardwaj from Lotus Funeral Home. He does a lot of grief counseling as well. I know this in private discussions, and he has helped so many people, talking to them. He's not just the guy, who's there doing cremation. No. He's a lot more than that, who has done a lot of grief counseling for people. And that is what we need to do. We need to not give people too much advice, but sometimes we need to open that ears. We need to open that ears to people's problems and say, you know what? I'm a listener. I'm a listener. Be a listener, my friends. One man said, when you're talking, you're only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, what happens? You have potential to learn something very new. Grieving is nothing new. Grieving is nothing new. I want you to understand that. You look back in our history. We are doing a video recording right now called Ancient Scriptures, Modern Times. We're working on it because we want to present things with quality, and I hope you do like the YouTube videos. And if you do like them, subscribe to the channel. It's free. And of course, subscribe to the notification button. We're working on a video that's called Ancient Scriptures, Modern Times. How are the ancient scriptures applicable to the modern times, to the skyscrapers, to the suit and tie, to the briefcase, to the straight hair? How does ancient scriptures apply to that? We're going to talk about that in an upcoming video. By this week, it will be ready. By the end of this week, it will be ready. But whatever is ancient, my friends, we have to look at if it's practical. I don't want to give you away what it is. We have to look at if it's practical. Grieving, however, grieving is nothing new to this cosmos. Grieving is nothing new to this world. Grieving is nothing new to you and I. Grieving, as a matter of fact, has been recorded in all aspects of our scriptures. Let us look at the most, I would say, the most common of all our scriptures, Ramcharitmanas. Lanka Kand, there was some serious grieving that occurred there. And it was not by the bystanders of the battle. This grieving did not occur by the soldiers and their wives. No. This grieving occurred, or this grieving process, my friends, involved Sri Ram. How this happened? Of course, Lakshman was struck with a javelin in his chest. He became unconscious. He was going to lose his life. Hanumanji went to bring, of course, the herbs, the 5 herbs. Valmiki wrote 5 herbs. Tulsidas ji says 1. Mulsa Jivani. And what happened, my friends? So when he went to bring the herbs and he was doing his work serving Bhagwan Sri Ram held Lakshman in his hands like this, on the ground, and he started to speak to an unconscious brother. Does that ring a bell? He started to speak to an unconscious brother. Jo jaharam Lakshman hi nihare, बोले बचन मनुज अनुसारी, बोले बचन मनुज अनुसारी। जहाँ राम लक्ष्मण ही निहारे, बोले बचन मनुज अनुसारी, बोले बचन मनुज अनुसारी। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। सकहु न दुखित देखी मोहि कामु, बंधु सदा तब मृगुल स्वभावु। हम हित लागी तजेहु पितु माता, सहेहु विपिन हिम आतप बाता। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, 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 श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। Ram Bhagwan had his unconscious brother in his lap. He was sitting. Lakshman couldn't hear a thing, of course. There are so many ways in which a person grieves, right? And this is one of them. Jaha Ram Lakshman hi nihari, bole bachan manuj anisari. Having seen Lakshman's condition, Bhagwan Ram, of course, uttered words like the ordinary man. Ardharati gai kapi nahi gaye, Ram uthai anuj urlaye. Though half the night has passed, Ram Bhagwan is saying, Hanuman has not returned, Lakshman. And so speaking, Ram clasped his brother to his bosom and he started to kiss his head. Ramji, kissing the head of the unconscious Lakshman. Ki bhai, sakau na dukhi dekhi mohi kau, bandhu sada tav mridul swabhavu. My brother, he says, never could you endure to see me in sorrow. Your disposition was ever so affectionate. On my account, my brother, on my account you left father and mother and exposed yourself to the hardships of the forest, the cold, the heat, and the wind. My brother, where, O Lakshmana, where, my brother, is now the old love that you had for me? Why do you not rise in response to my lament, O Lakshmana? Does this ring a bell to you? You see this all the time. You see this all the time, my friends, that we talk to the dead, we talk to the dying, and we expect them to hear us, right? Grieving has many ways, friends, and one of the ways of doing it is to, you have to cry. People, crying is not an, crying takes quite a bit of strength from you and energy from you. Our scriptures tells us there are many reasons why we cry. First reason why we cry is because of guilt when someone dies. We are guilty. I should have done more for you. I could have done more for you. I should have called you more often. People say this loud in their speeches and things, right? It's a learning lesson. Nothing is wrong with that stuff. People say it, I should have done this. So people cry out of guilt, right? And there are those who cry out of love. And there are those who don't cry because they are satisfied with the interaction model of life that they've had with their loved ones. And friends, that's why every day we are, of course we can't call everybody. Imagine if I have to call everybody and you have to call everybody and they have to call everyone. But at least live a life that when you come, they say when you come, everybody celebrate. Don't live a life that when you go, people will celebrate as well. People will, of course, feel your departure. Feel your departure. Bhagwan Ram starts to grieve. He starts to grieve that, my brother, where were you? Where is this old love that you had for me? Had I known that I should lose my brother in the forest, I should have never obeyed my father's command to come to the forest. I should have gone back to Ayodhya, my brother, if I knew that this was going to happen for you. Bhagwan Ram grieved like a human being. He reminds me of all the people we see at the funeral homes, talking to the dead and talking to the dead. What is he telling us here, my friends? That, it's really an example of how death knocks on the door, or some sign of death when it knocks. The most certain things create certain, responses from us, which are very natural. Sons and riches, he says, Sut bit nari bhavan parivara, hoi jahi jag bare hi bara, asa vichari jiya jagahu tata, milena jagat samodar bhrata. I quote you from the scriptures. He says, my brother, sons and riches, wife and houses, and kingfolk, they come and they go in this world time after time. But not so a real brother. Bhagwan Ram is saying, everything will come and go. Sons, riches, wives, house, kinfolk, everything will come and go. But a good brother, Lakshman, will never come. Reflect upon this, my brother, and wake up. He says, Jata pank binu khag ati dina, mani binu phani karivar karahina. As a bird is utterly miserable without its wings, or a serpent without its head jewel, or a noble elephant without its trunk, so will my life be, Lakshman. So will my life be without you, my brother. Of course, without any glow, without any joy, without any happiness. That will be the status of my life if you do not come back to me, if you do not come back to me. Bhagwan Ram, of course, displays that even he is susceptible to grieving. Because Ram Avatar is not about the magic. Bhagwan Ram's avatar is not about the glitz and the glamour. His avatar, his presence on this earth was about demonstrating the life of every human being. And that is why most of us gravitate, my friends, to the life of Sri Ram. Because we understand that if Narayan Bhagwan could have come and endured struggles, and we watch his life, how he rebounded. And that is why our scriptures, although they are ancient, they are applicable to modern times. Because grieving did not only happen in ancient times, it happens today. Values, my friends, are not only for ancient people, it is for modern ones as well. And for these reasons, we still read our Ramayana, we still read our Gita. Bhagwan Ram displays the act or the response of an ordinary man. He says, Jai ho avad kavan mohulai nari hetu priya bhai gavai. You know why it is important to think 10 times before you make one action? You know why it is important to think 10 steps ahead before you make one step, my friends? Because when something is done, when you have done something or when you have said something, reversing it is not the same. You would have already embarrassed yourself. You would have already created, a series of karmas that are embarrassing for you and for those. And saying sorry does not reverse it. It even puts more shame sometimes on us. Bhagwan Ram says, Lakshman, Jehi avad kavan muhulai. What face am I going to show to Ayodhya when I go there? That's why it's important to think 10 steps ahead before you take one step. Because when something, my friends, happens, when you haven't given the thought process, what face are we going to show the world? And for that reason, we have to think twice, or 10 times rather, before, we say something to someone. Saying the right thing is important. Saying it in the right way is important. Think about the emotions of people. Think about how people react or how they will react to what you say. Not everyone, my friends, can handle, the toughness of Sri Krishna to Arjun. Not everyone is that strong and sturdy to handle sturdy or very firm words. Not everyone. This thing that we call depression that we're seeing today, my friends, that we've talked about earlier in the program, it comes in many forms. It comes in so many forms. And one of the forms it comes in is when we are not prepared for that process. We are not prepared to embrace some hardships of life. Bhagwan Sri Ram demonstrates, what face will I return with to Ayodhya, having lost a brother for a woman? He says, Nari hetu priya bhai gavai. Having lost a brother for Sita, who I'm running after, I've lost a brother. What face will I take to Ayodhya? How will I face Urmila, your wife? And so, my friends, he continues, I would rather have endured the shame of her loss before the world. I would have rather endured the shame of a loss to her in the world. But my brother, if you go, what will I gain in life? But now my pitiless and unfeeling heart will have to endure both anguishes of my life. So he continues to grieve, and he continues to grieve, my friends. And this process of grieving sometimes is required in life. I say, you know what, if you want to grieve, you grieve. If you want to cry, you cry. But don't make it a lifelong habit. Grieving is not a lifelong habit. No, it is a short process. It is a short duration to, take yourself down a little bit and then wipe your tears off. Yes, dust off your hands and say, life must continue. Life must continue. The lifetime we have spent, of course, to bind ourselves in relationships with our loved and dear ones, of course, you should not ever take a lifetime to get rid of it. Common sense will tell you, my friends, that if you take a lifetime to say goodbye or for someone to depart from your life, it is not a wise balance. Why? We will grieve for most of our life if we are not prepared for this process. Bhagwan Ram continues, my friends, and as he continued to grieve, of course, what happens? Hanumanji Maharaj appeared with Mool Sajivani and the other herbs. That is to show us, my friends, that amidst grieving, when we grieve, my friends, understand that when we are losing or when we have loss, it's a short-term, it's a short-term process. Help will come. Help will come, my friends, if you have the proper association. Do you think if something goes wrong, how many in the past 80-something days when we are in Shanti Satsangh, how many people who are involved in the Shanti Satsangh, they have lost people. They have gone through sickness. We have mourned with them. This is remarkable what we have done here for 80-something days now. But 80-something days now we have been mourning with people. We have been, of course, joining with them to send off their beloved ones. We don't leave each other like that. And at the same time, what do? We bring people together. We celebrate their successes. We celebrate their anniversaries. We celebrate their achievements. We celebrate birthdays with them. Because that's what a family does. We look out for each other. We stand up for each other. And Bhavani Shankar Mandir is such a place, my friends, where starting from the volunteers, we look out for each other. We look out for each other. Every person who comes there and is a part of our family. And when I say you're part of your family, it means we just have to know you. And you automatically become our family. We look out for each other. We care for each other. We will never watch someone fall. Knowingly, of course, we have to know something happens. We will never watch someone fall, of course, and not do anything about it. Because that is what family is for. And, of course, that is what, our community is about. So anytime, my friends, there is any sort of doubt on your abilities, on whether you can accomplish something or not, or, whether you can get past or get through or get over any difficulty in your life, you understand, you can pick up that phone and you can actually, call anyone. Call anyone. Call me. Call someone. Cry. Get over the moment. Sometimes it is that moment that you need to get over, my friends, to get to the next stage of your life. And that is what we have to do, my friends, stand up for each other. You can see the volunteers, they're actually agreeing with what I'm saying at the temple, because that is what we do, my friends, stand up for each other. And so Bhagwan Ram, when he grieved and his grieving is finished, Hanumanji came, help is always on the way. It may last a bit of a time, but it's on its way. And the herbs were applied to Lakshmana, and he was brought back to consciousness and in great health. That is why we have to, as a community, as a people, stick together. Because in challenging times, you want to share as much as you share your sorrows, your happiness with people. You must also, my friend, share your sorrows. Nothing is wrong with that. Stay prayerful, everyone, and always, always have your faith and your Bhagwan with you. At the end of the day, na tato, na mata, na bandhur, na data, na putro, na putri, na brityo, na bharta, na jaya, na vidya, na vrittir mamaiva, gatistvam tameka bhavani. At the end of the day, your vidya, your knowledge, your certificates and everything will leave you and you will part with them. But the one relationship that will matter, or always matters, birth after birth after birth after birth. The oldest relationship that we have in this world, the oldest relationship is with our Creator. 8,400,000 births we have taken, and every birth we were related to our Creator. He's our oldest friend, or she's our oldest friend. So let's not break that relationship. Let us not have that relationship as a standby relationship. When something goes wrong, I'm going to knock at Shankar Bhagwan's door, Shri Krishna's door. No, God doesn't work like that. It is in those times of challenge when we actually use what we have stored in us, my friends, to become someone better. Let's have this beautiful bhajan by Vrinda. And after we come back, we'll have a little bit more discussion on Shanti Satsangh. And we'll sing some bhajans to really liven up your life, of course. Continue to keep you connected with us.
बड़ी देर भई नंदलाला तेरी राहत के ब्रजबाला बड़ी देर भई नंदलाला तेरी राहत के ब्रजबाला ग्वाल बाले के किसे पूछे ग्वाल बाले के किसे पूछे कहाँ है मुरली वाला बड़ी देर भई नंदलाला तेरी
Lakshman was brought back to consciousness. And when he was brought back to consciousness, my friends, Bhagwan Sri Ram again hugged him. And he thanked Hanumanji for his service and for his dedication. When Ravan heard this, my friends, Yah vratant dasanan sune Ati vishad puni puni surdhane Vyakul kumbhkaran pahiyawa Vivid jatan kari tahi jagawa. You know when happiness comes in someone's lives? When happiness comes in someone's lives, for other people that's a distress. It's a distress. When somebody rises in life and they're happy and they're celebrating about it, for some others, that is sorrows. That is bad news. When someone gets good health, recovered from some sort of down, state in life, lower state in life, bad health or so on, they've recovered. For many, that is sad news. It is the reality of Kali Yuga. Yahvratant dasanan suneu ativishad puni puni sir dhaneu. When Ravan heard that Lakshmana was back to consciousness and he regained his energies, what happened? Vyakul ativishad puni puni sir dhuneu. Ravan took his hairs and he dhun. He is beating his head, my friends, on the wall. He says, why has Lakshman regained his consciousness? Why has Lakshman come back to alive? This would have been the destruction of Ram. Why has he come back to life? And what happened, my friends? This is what happens in life. A man regained his consciousness, and another is, of course, beating the head on the wall. Why in the world did he get back his consciousness? Well, guess what? This is a part of life that we have to understand. We have to understand. If you ever fall in that category where you're celebrating someone else's failure or you're sorrowful because of somebody else's successes, that is not a spot or an area in life where you want to be. If you're in a position like that, my friends, then we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. It means you're occupying a human body with the behavior of a lower level of life. It is not the way that we want to be. It is not a life that we want to live, my friends. That is the life of an animal, right? A deer becomes the prey of a lion or a tiger. A tiger celebrates, or a lion celebrates when they see a deer. They celebrate when they see a deer because they know that the fall of the deer becomes their meal. That's the behavior of animals. We should refuse to behave like that, my friends. Ravan saw the resuscitation of Lakshmana and he beat his head and he became sad. And what happens? When that happens, he took out more weapons. He woke up Kumbhkaran. Vyakula Kumbhkaran pahiyawa vivida jatan kahi tahi jagava. Kumbhkaran was, of course, sleeping for 6 months. So he woke up his brother and he says, it's time now for you to go. And that's what happens when people's happiness are accumulating, when people are rising in life, my friends. We take out, we take out more knives and more weapons to go after them and to attack them. That is not how devotees of God behave. That is not how human beings behave. That is not how Bhagwan has made us. God has not made us like this. We have actually made ourselves like this. A question is asked that if God is in everyone, and do you believe God is in everyone? You believe God is in everyone? Well, if God is in everyone, how come everyone is not godly? This is the question. The question is not if there is God or not. The question is The question is, if God is in everyone, how come everyone is not godly? And that bothers a lot of us because, Panji, you say God is in us, so yeah, that's fine, I'm going to go do mischief. And then the God in us is supposed to protect us, right? God is not supposed to allow me to do something wrong. God is not supposed to, what do we want in life? God to be a babysitter? Bhagwan is not a babysitter, right? You think Bhagwan has work to do? Bhagwan has a lot of work to do. Bhagwan doesn't have to hold your hand like this and put you to every step of life. God has made us, above Akar Char Lakh Chaurasi, man. He has made us the highest form of life with an intellect, that is incomparable. With senses of perception, with emotions, things that lower forms of life, don't have. Right? So God is in everyone, but how come everyone is not godly? We are not godly because we are a stranger to that God inside of us. Chapter 15, verse 15 tells us where he lives, but we are not conscious of that. If you have your spectacle, my friends, on your head, and you're just looking everywhere for it, what will happen? You're going to go crazy, right? You're not conscious that you have it. You have it, but you're not conscious that you have it. And that is a problem. It's not God is not in our life. God is in everyone. Are you aware that you have that God? And are you aware that you can use that creator in you to be creative and become beautiful human beings in life? It's a whole different thing. So instead of stressing yourself out in life, my friends, I say instead of putting problems on your head, put कि मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, अपने दोनों ये हाथ. Instead of putting problems on your head, instead of putting depressions in you, instead of putting sorrows and thinking all sorts of negative things, my friends, then what you do, put God, let God rest on your head. Let the hands of God rest on your head. Put Bhagwan inside here. And what happens? Dena ho to dijiye janam janam ka saath. Janam janam ka saath. When we put Bhagwan on our head, or when we put Bhagwan hands on our head or Bhagwan's feet on our head, what happens? He become our friend for janam janam. Long ago you used to have all the movie songs. It's all about janam janam. जन्म जन्म का साथ है तुम्हारा हमारा, तुम्हारा हमारा. Remember those songs? जन्म जन्म का साथ है. All the songs, well not all, but lots of the songs was about janam janam. Birth after birth we want to be together. Today the bhajan, all the movie songs about pal pal. Pal pal. We don't want to be with each other for janam janam anymore. We want to be with each other moment after moment only. Pal pal. You see what love has come down to. Love has come down to from generation, from life to life. It has come down to minute. And that is unfortunately what it is. So take Bhagwan with you, my friends. Janam janam ka saath. Let the Lord be with you birth after birth. Let Bhagwan be your oldest friend as he is, and of course realize that. So this is a beautiful, beautiful song. And what does it say? No, I'm not going to sing Janam Janam Ka Saath. I'm going to sing Janam Janam Ka Saath Hai Tumhara Hamara on Father's Day. Sorry, Savi. I'm going to sing that on Father's Day. Janam Janam Ka Saath Hai Tumhara Hamara, Tumhara Hamara. Father's Day program. I'm going to sing that. Today, though, what are we going to sing? We're going to sing Prabhu, शाम तेरे चरणों की धूली धन दौलत से महंगी है. No. When I have the dust of your feet, O Sham, O Krishna, when I have the dust of your feet, dhan daulat ki mahangi hai, then wealth and everything else, that's cheap for me. Because I have the dust of your feet, Prabhu, that is magical, that can turn a stone into a lady, Ahilya Nari, that can transform the world, into an auspicious place to live in. एक नजर कृपा की बाबा नाम इज्जत से महंगी है. And having one sight of you, Prabhu, just one sight or one glimpse of you when I have, my Lord, naam ijjat ki mahangi hai. Then fame and everything else, all that is cheap. All that is cheap when I have a glimpse in front of you. My friends, you know, in India, many of the temples that you go to, in India, what will happen? They have, especially the Krishna Bhagwan temples, in Vrindavan they do that, in Gujarat they do this as well. What happens, my friends, they have this blind that they pull. Many of the temples, Banki Bihari, they do this a lot. They have this blind that they pull. And what happens? They see the Bhagwan inside there. You see the Bhagwan, Krishna in there. And what happens? Every 5 minutes they pull the blind. So everybody, you know, they say, they take care of the offerings and so on. Everybody's just waiting and waiting and waiting. And after about a minute, they open back of it and everybody go, Jai Ho, Banke Bihari Lal Ki, Jai Ho. Because Govinda, go, Govinda. When we went to Tirupati Balaji as well, they do that. They close the blind and when Bhagwan is revealed, everybody go, Govinda. One sight people want to have. Those places, they don't want to do any all this fancy. They want to have one sight of the Lord, one glimpse of the Lord that they want to have. Ek nazar kirpa ki baba naam ijat se mahangi hai. One glimpse of the Lord, all name and fame becomes cheap. That glimpse of the Lord becomes very powerful. Prabhu, that is all. मेरे दिल की तमन्ना यही है, करूँ सेवा की तेरी दिन रात. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. ओ मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, हो मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, अपने दोनों ये हाथ. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. हो अब तो कृपा दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. श्याम प्रभु से धन और दौलत क्या मांगे. श्याम प्रभु से महंगी तो श्याम प्रभु से मांगे तो फिर नाम इज्जत क्या मांगे. मेरे जीवन में अब कर दे, हो मेरे जीवन में अब कर दे, मेरे जीवन में अब कर दे तू कृपा की बरसात. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. श्याम तेरे चरणों की धूली धन दौलत से महंगी है. एक नजर कृपा की बाबा नाम इज्जत से महंगी है. श्याम तेरे चरणों की धूली धन दौलत से महंगी है. एक नजर कृपा की बाबा नाम इज्जत से महंगी. मेरे दिल की तमन्ना यही है, ओ मेरे दिल की तमन्ना यही है, मेरे दिल की तमन्ना यही है, करूँ सेवा तेरी दिन रात. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ. सुना है हमने शरणागत को अपने गले लगाते हो, ऐसा हमने क्या मांगे जो देने से घबराते हो। सुना है हमने शरणागत को अपने गले लगाते हो, ऐसा हमने क्या मांगे जो देने से घबराते हो। चाहे जैसे रख बनवारी हो, चाहे जैसे रख बनवारी, चाहे जैसे रख बनवारी, बस होती रहे मुलाकात। देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ, देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ। मेरे सिर पर रख बनवारी, मेरे सिर पर रख का कान्हा, अपने दोनों ये हाथ। देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ, देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ। जन्म जन्म का साथ है तुम्हारा हमारा, तुम्हारा हमारा। जन्म जन्म का साथ है तुम्हारा हमारा, तुम्हारा हमारा। देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ, देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ, देना हो तो दीजिए जन्म जन्म का साथ। जन्म जन्म का साथ। Please don't say we're going to take love one day at a time. Are bhai? No, that's not how we love each other. Love is not about taking one day at a time. No, we have to extend this love, my friends, beyond the days that are coming, and let there be many lifetimes of love together. And that love is not only, or should not only be between you and your loved ones around you. That love has to be extended to your Creator. Remember this always, friends. Remember this always. Whatever we create at the feet of God, that becomes an extension of what we do outside of our home and our temple. For example, if you are devoted to the feet of God, when devotion can be acquired at the feet of Prabhu, then you become not only devoted to God, you become a devoted family man or family woman. You become a devoted employee, right? You become a devoted servant. You become a devoted volunteer. You become a devoted mother. You become a devoted brother. When devotion can be acquired from the feet of God, it is manifested in different ways. In different ways, right? When you are loyal to your Bhagwan, then that loyalty is extended and manifested to your partner, to your children, to your family, to your community. Whatever starts at the feet of God, that, my friends, when it starts there, it is manifested in all aspects of life. Similarly, Janam Janam Ka Saath. If you love Bhagwan, not for now, not only one day at a time, not only tomorrow, but you promise the Lord and you dedicate your love to love the Lord, life after life, birth after birth. Artana janmana kamuhi, gatina charai nirban, janma janma rati ramapad yahavardana naan. Bharat said, I want to love Bhagwan and be born at his feet, birth after birth, birth after birth. My friends, when you love God, when love starts for God, that love is extended to animals. That love is extended to your dear ones. That love is extended to your work. That love is extended to your community. But it has to start at the feet of God. And it cannot be limited to God. Your devotion cannot be limited to only God. Your prayers cannot be, your love cannot only be limited to God. It has to be extended. It has to be extended to the world. It has to be extended to the world. And that is what makes us selfless. It makes us selfless, you know. And so, this evening, my friends, I hope you take, of course, these beautiful messages of life, that love is not only for each other, and understand that although we are praying for Janam Janam love and birth after birth love, it will come to an end in this lifetime. When it does, let it shake you up for a little bit. Let loss shake you up for a little bit. And after that, you rise again and you go on with life, because there are certain realities we cannot escape. Don't grieve for the rest of your life because of someone who you love, my friends. That is not how you express love for someone. No, don't go into pity mode. I'm very firm with these things, and because these, if you don't say it like this, people don't understand it well. You have lost something, you have lost someone. Yes, grieve. Yes, I've lost and I will cry. But don't grieve for the rest of your life for that. The one that you have lost, be it someone or something that you have lost, will not want you to do that. That is not what love is about. It has a duration. A duration means a start and a finish. And I hope and pray that we all continue to be strong and learn from these lessons of life, my friends. Tonight, we will finish here. I will ask that we, of course, sing the Hanumanji Chalisa and leave this beautiful Sunday evening with this message. I'd like to remind all of you, friends, that tomorrow evening is Shivji Puja at the temple. We have Shivji Puja. The temple will be opened as of 6 p.m. and Puja will start there. Shanti Satsangh will be live tomorrow from Bhavani Shankar Mandir, and you are invited to come and pray in a very safe environment. In a very safe environment. How do we do this safety? To ensure that, our temple, the law permitted us that we can actually have 30% of the capacity in our temple. 30% of the upstairs means 30% of 420 people. Now that's, of course, 30% is over 120 people. But we are going by the T. We have put chairs. Here you're sitting here, 6 feet. Here's where you're sitting. 6 feet. Here's where you're sitting. We have made it very welcoming for our people and safe. The prasad offerings and things, we have made it very simple so that you can actually enjoy your time there. So come on out when you can. Tomorrow we'll be there. And of course, Tuesday evening we're chanting 11 Hanumanji Chalisa. A lot of people wrote in that they want to sponsor the Chalisa. I'm of course going to get back to you to let you know. But it's only 11, and some of you are going to be there and some of you are not going to be there. Fine. If you're not going to be there, I'll offer the flower for you, because I know you would have loved to be there. So I'll offer the flower for you. But if you want to donate on the occasion of us singing a Hanumanji Chalisa, don't wait for me to ask you. Please let me know and please make a donation. After Tuesday, I'm going to come and it's going to be back to work for me and you, because I want to get not only 100 of you, but more than 100 of you to donate $100 to our temple for our 100-day celebration. Our 100-day celebration. I'll talk to you about that after Tuesday, because I want to get that part out first. I want to get Tuesday out first, and then we will continue with our path for July 1st. Please plan your day to spend some time with me on July 1st. Come on out with your vehicles. You'll be safe in the parking lot, and we will celebrate 100 days of Shanti Satsangh together. Now, friends, let us do our closing Hanumanji Chalisa. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj Nij Man Mukur Sudhar Barno Raghubar Bimal Jasu Jodayak Phalchari Buddhihin Tanu Janike Sumiro Pavan Kumar Bal Buddhi Vidya Deho आरहु कलेश विकार और जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिन्हु लोक उजागर जय हो बजरंगबली
अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी तुमत निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुबेश कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा हाथ भद्र और ध्वजा विराजे कान्हे मूंछ जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता बालक रूप धरि रंग जराव, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहार, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे, लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए, रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिया भरत सम भाई, सहस बदन तुम रोय गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ गावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीस, नारद सारद सहित ईसा, यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना, तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण मान, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन पर भान, वीर ताहि मधुर पर जान, प्रभु मुद्रिका मिलि मुख माहि, जल्दी लाग के अजर जनाहि, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होतन आज्ञा बिन पैसारे, सब सुख रहे तुम्हारी शरण, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज सम्हारो आप, तीनों लोक हाथ पे कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम भजन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साज, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, तासो अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, हे पर से जगत उजियार, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, बस कर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुमरे पास, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुमरे भजन राम को भावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाए, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाए, और देवता चेतन धरहि, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीर, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नारी, जो शुभ बार पाठ कर कोई, जूते बंदी महासुख होई, जो या पर हनुमान चालीसा, होई सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महादेव, की जय नाथ हृदय महादेव, की जय नाथ हृदय महादेव।
पावन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय में बसहूँ सुरभूप, बोले पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव, असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की, सियाभज रामचंद्र की जय, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय जय सीताराम। Have a blessed night, everyone. If I can ask all of you, please, to please go over to YouTube if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel as yet. I'm trying to get it up and running, and it's running. So, Hardat Ashwar, just click the subscribe button. You can hop over and get that done, so we can bring all these teachings to you whenever the videos come out. That'll be great. Have a blessed evening, everyone, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. Of course, at the temple, if you can come in the temple, we're all prepared for your coming there. Of course, we'll be on live every night as well. Looking forward to celebrating with you Tuesday evening, Hanumanji Chalisa at the temple, and online. And of course, on July 1st, 100-day celebration in the park. Jai Sitaram, everyone, and I hope all of you have a blessed night. Pray, think positive, help each other in this process. do not allow anyone to, of course, endure any sorrows by themselves. Have a blessed night. Jai Sitaram to everyone. We have here, see where I should start. I've missed a lot of people here. Anyways, without risk of missing anyone here, I'll just say Sitaram to everybody, and see you all tomorrow evening. Namaste.